Alex had been looking forward to a quiet evening on the space station. After a long shift repairing the oxygen filtration system, all he wanted was a hot shower and a few minutes of peace. The hum of the station's life support systems was a gentle background lull, the kind that made the metal walls feel less cold. He stepped into the small shower compartment, the warm water hitting his shoulders and washing away the tension of the day. Space life was not easy. Every day was filled with tasks, repairs, and calculations. Humans were still a minority among the interstellar population, and while Alex liked the other species on the station, he often longed for moments like this, just him, some hot water, and no interruptions. Today, however, peace was about to be disrupted in a way he could never have imagined. The door to his small shower compartment slid open with a soft hiss. Alex, too relaxed to notice at first, only became aware when he saw a blur of bright colors at the edge of his vision. "What the?" he exclaimed, spinning around and slipping slightly on the wet floor. Standing there was a figure unlike any he had ever seen in his life. She was humanoid in shape but not human. Her skin shimmered faintly in shades of turquoise and violet, catching the light in a way that made it seem almost liquid. Her large, luminous eyes widened as she stared at him, and her hair, or what looked like hair, but moved in soft, translucent tendrils, floated gently around her head, as if underwater. "Hello," she said cheerfully, her voice musical and strange to human ears. I didn't mean to intrude. I just saw something unusual and wanted to observe." Alex froze, water dripping down his arms, trying to process the situation. "Observe? In the shower?" The alien blinked in a way that made her eyes glow brighter for a moment. "Yes. This is a human cleansing ritual. Correct? I've read about it in the station's cultural database, but it is so fascinating to see in action." Alex blinked. He had read about aliens being curious, but nothing could have prepared him for this. "Okay. First, you need to step back. This is personal space." "Personal space?" the alien repeated, tilting her head. "Ah, I see. Humans have these invisible boundaries. Very interesting. But are they dangerous?" Alex ran a hand through his wet hair, exasperated. "No, they're not dangerous. Just very private. I don't usually have visitors while I'm showering." The alien's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Aha! That explains the sudden redness of your epidermis?" She pointed to his face. "Do humans blush during cleansing?" Alex groaned. "I think I need to explain some things first. And maybe you should step out before you get wet." The alien's gaze flitted to the shower controls. "Water. Water. Ah. Yes. That is why this compartment exists. Fascinating. May I observe closer? I promise to be careful." "We Kermit." "Ah me." Alex held up a hand. "No closer. Seriously. Step back, or I will have to." He stopped mid-sentence as he realized arguing with an alien in a shower was ridiculous. He quickly turned off the water and wrapped himself in a towel, trying to maintain at least a semblance of dignity. The alien floated in place, hovering slightly above the floor as if gravity were optional for her. "Ah, I see. You humans use towels after water immersion. That is clever. But why does it cover only the central torso area? Why not the entire body?" Alex sighed. "We call it modesty. It's a cultural thing." He paused. "Look, I don't mean to be rude, but you really shouldn't be here. I'm not a specimen." The alien seemed to consider this, her head tilting. "Not a specimen? Then why do humans restrict observation of this activity? Surely it is for science? Curiosity is a form of learning. It benefits the observer." "Yes. But humans also value privacy." "It's complicated," Alex said. He gestured toward the doorway. "Now, if you don't mind, please leave." "I understand," she said slowly. Alex frowned, drying his hair. Questions? Fine. But quick ones. The alien's eyes gleamed with excitement. Excellent. She floated closer to the doorway but remained careful to maintain a safe distance. Question 1. Why do humans prefer water that is heated? In my species, we rely on nutrient-rich fluid baths at various temperatures, but the range is often extreme and precise. Yet humans seem to prefer a narrow, comfortable range. Alex laughed despite himself. It's about comfort, mostly. Too hot, and you burn yourself. Too cold, and you shiver. We just like a temperature that feels good. Interesting, the alien murmured, jotting notes into a floating holographic tablet. Question 2. Why do you use soap? Is it purely chemical, or does it have symbolic meaning as well? Alex hesitated. Mostly chemical. Soap removes dirt and germs. But I guess humans also enjoy the smell. The alien nodded thoughtfully. Ah, a multisensory experience. Fascinating. She paused, then tilted her head again. Question 3. Do humans find embarrassment in being seen during cleansing universal, or is it cultural? Alex chuckled dryly. Mostly cultural. Some humans are more open, some less. Personally, I prefer not to be observed at all. She floated closer, her gaze curious and unblinking. You are fascinating, Alex. Humans truly are complex creatures. Your reactions, your subtle red hue, your posture, these indicate a rich emotional framework. I must document this. Who posture did? Alex groaned. Document, fine, but can we at least move to a less wet place? My quarters are small, and the shower is slippery. The alien seemed to consider this. Ah, a compromise. I approve. Where shall we continue? Alex gestured toward the small common area outside his quarters. There. Just no water. Please. She floated with surprising grace for someone clearly not human. And as they settled in the common area, she continued asking questions. Why do humans have this need for privacy? Is it innate, learned, or both? Alex leaned back on the small sofa, still wrapped in his towel, and began explaining. Humans grow up learning about boundaries. We need personal space to feel safe. Everyone has different limits, and respecting those limits is important. The alien nodded slowly. Processing. So, observing without permission violates these boundaries. Understood. Curiosity must be balanced with consent. Exactly, Alex said. You're learning fast. They spent the next hour talking about the differences between humans and aliens. Alex learned that her species, Lyra explained, had evolved in a communal environment where privacy was almost non-existent, so the concept of personal space was foreign to her. In turn, she was fascinated by human routines, eating habits, sleep cycles, and even the simple act of taking a shower. At some point, Alex realized that despite the awkward beginning, he was enjoying the conversation. Her questions were relentless, but they were insightful and often amusing. She had a way of observing the world that made him see his own habits in a new light. And humans really do blush that easily? She asked at one point, a note of disbelief in her voice. All it takes is the presence of another being? Alex laughed. Yep. Some of us are more sensitive than others. Lyra floated closer, but still respecting the invisible line of personal space. You are sensitive, Alex. Yes? I detect it in your physiological responses. Your species is remarkable. I see why you value privacy. It protects the sensitive. Alex smiled, feeling oddly flattered. Thanks. I guess. You know, you're the first alien to ever just wander into my quarters like this. Usually, they're polite. Or very cautious. Ah, caution can limit learning, Lyra said seriously. Curiosity drives progress. Without risk, knowledge stagnates. Alex shook his head, smiling. You're bold, I'll give you that. Just maybe next time, knock? She nodded, her tendrils quivering in amusement. Agreed. Next time, knock. But this was invaluable. I learned more about humans in an hour than many do in a month. Alex leaned back, relaxing. Maybe this visit wasn't such a disaster after all. Lyra's curiosity had been overwhelming, but her perspective was refreshing. It was rare to meet someone or something who made him think differently about everyday life. All right, Alex said. You've learned a lot. Now, I need to dry off and get some rest. Lyra hovered by the doorway, her luminous eyes bright. Understood. Rest is important for humans. And I shall return soon, Alex. I have many more questions. Alex groaned softly, imagining what future visits might be like. But he couldn't deny that a small part of him was curious to see what else she would discover. Just, maybe not in the shower next time, he said with a grin. She laughed, a sound like wind chimes in zero gravity. Agreed, Alex. Next time, a different location. But the adventure was unforgettable. And with that, she floated away, leaving Alex to finish drying off and reflect on the strangest, most entertaining shower incident of his life. He shook his head in disbelief and muttered to himself, "Space station life just keeps getting weirder. And somehow better." The next morning, Alex was trying to enjoy a quiet breakfast in the station's small communal cafeteria. He liked to get up early, before the other crew members were fully awake, so he could eat in peace. The smell of warm protein rations filled the air, and the soft hum of the life support systems was comforting. He was just about to take a bite of his nutrient bar when a familiar shimmer appeared beside him. "Good morning, Alex." Lyra's voice rang out cheerfully, causing him to nearly drop his bar. Alex groaned. "Not again. You're early." Lyra floated closer, her tendrils waving gently in the zero-gravity air. "Ah, yes. Early morning is ideal for observation. Humans often behave differently in the first moments after sleep. I wish to document it." Alex sighed. "Document what exactly? My breakfast routine?" "Yes," she said with delight. "The ritual of human nourishment. I observed yesterday that humans consume food for survival. But there are so many small behaviors, gestures, and choices involved. Fascinating." Alex rubbed his eyes and shook his head. "You're unbelievable. You couldn't have waited a day?" Lyra tilted her head. "Waiting reduces the freshness of observation. Accuracy requires immediacy." Alex shook his head again. But he couldn't help smiling. Lyra's excitement was contagious, even if it was exhausting. "Fine," he muttered. "Let's make this quick." As he opened his nutrient bar, Lyra floated nearby, her glowing eyes scanning every movement. She reached out her hand not to touch, but to gesture, and tiny holographic projections appeared in midair. They mapped Alex's hand movements, the opening of the bar, and the delicate peeling of the wrapper. "Ah, efficiency," she exclaimed. "Humans have optimized the opening of nourishment packages. The hands cooperate seamlessly, with minimal waste. Remarkable." Alex chuckled despite himself. "Thanks, I guess." He took a small bite, and noticed her gaze following his every movement. Lyra leaned closer, though still keeping a respectful distance. "Do humans always eat standing up in communal areas? Or is this specific to this station?" Alex shrugged. "Some eat standing, some sitting. Most eat wherever there's space." "Makes sense, in a crowded station," she nodded. "So adaptation influences behavior. Humans are flexible. I approve." Alex took another bite and tried to focus on finishing quickly. But Lyra's curiosity was relentless. "Tell me, Alex, why do humans chew their food slowly? Is it ritual? Enjoyment? Or purely mechanical?" "Two. Mostly mechanical," Alex said. "Chewing breaks down food for digestion. But yes, some people enjoy it too." "Interesting," she said, jotting more notes. "Your species values both function and sensation. This duality is unique." Alex paused mid-bite. "You really pay attention to everything, don't you?" Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Attention to detail is crucial for understanding. If I fail to observe closely, I might misinterpret human behavior entirely. Alex leaned back, smiling despite himself. Well, I can't argue with that. After breakfast, Alex was planning to head to the engineering bay to work on a maintenance report. He was hoping for some solitude. But Lyra followed him. She floated beside him as he walked, occasionally commenting on the way he moved or how he interacted with doors and control panels. Doors are fascinating, she said suddenly. Humans must use hands to manipulate them, but my species relies on motion sensors entirely. Why is this not automated here? Alex shook his head, smiling. Some things are easier with hands. Plus, manual controls give people a sense of control. It's a comfort thing. Emotional ergonomics, she said. I understand. Humans always find ways to combine utility with emotion. He laughed quietly. You're learning fast. Faster than I expected. Lyra's attention then shifted to his uniform. Your clothing. It appears functional, but also has symbolic elements. Colors, insignias. Do humans always dress for both purpose and identity? Alex glanced down. Yeah, we do. Uniforms show rank, role, and sometimes even experience level. It's practical and social. Fascinating, she said. Humans encode information visually. Very efficient. When they reached the engineering bay, Alex started checking data logs and calibrating sensors. Lyra hovered nearby, observing every movement. She reached out with a small probe, scanning a control panel. Your work involves precision and timing, she commented. Yet, there is also improvisation. I detect variability in your methods. Why? Alex rubbed his forehead. Sometimes plans don't work perfectly. We have to adapt. That's human ingenuity. She said thoughtfully. Flexibility. Humans rely on both logic and creativity. This is admirable. As Alex worked, Lyra floated closer to some of the station's small tools, examining them with fascination. She occasionally pointed out improvements she thought might help humans, though they were more theoretical than practical. You know, Alex said, some of your ideas are actually pretty good. If we had your sensors, some repairs would be easier. Lyra's eyes lit up. Collaboration. We could optimize human methods with alien technology. Alex smiled. Exactly. But only if you promise not to float into my shower again. She tilted her head. Understood. Though observation in other areas is permitted? Sure, he said with a grin. But follow the rules of privacy. Lyra nodded. Agreed. I will respect human boundaries mostly. The day passed quickly. Alex found that having Lyra around was strangely enjoyable. Her questions made him think in ways he hadn't before. The way she analyzed even the simplest tasks forced him to consider efficiency, reasoning, and human behavior from a completely new perspective. During a brief break, Alex and Lyra sat near a viewport looking out at the vastness of space. Stars glittered in the black void, and the station's small lights reflected softly on the metal walls. Alex, Lyra said, her voice quieter now. Humans seem emotional in ways my species does not experience. You experience pride, embarrassment, curiosity, and fear, all simultaneously. How do you manage? Alex thought about it. We don't always manage. We just live with it. Sometimes it's messy, but it makes life interesting. Lyra studied him carefully. I think I understand. Emotional complexity is both a challenge and a strength. Humans adapt despite emotional variability. This is heroic in its own way. Alex smiled, a little embarrassed. Heroic? I'm just doing my job. Exactly, she said. Yet even in daily tasks, humans display creativity and resilience. Observation confirms that humans are remarkable. After the break, they returned to work. Alex was troubleshooting a sensor array when Lyra pointed out a minor anomaly in the wiring. If we adjust this here, it might improve efficiency. she said. Alex looked at her suggestion. Hey, that actually works. You're learning fast. And not just about humans engineering too. Her eyes sparkled with delight. Collaboration again. Two species working together. Efficiency and understanding both increase. As the station's shift ended, Alex realized that he had spent the whole day with Lyra observing, questioning, and sometimes teasing him. He had expected annoyance, but instead, he felt challenged, entertained, and even grateful. You know, he said as they walked back to the living quarters, I didn't expect to enjoy having a floating alien critic following me around all day. But it wasn't so bad. Lyra tilted her head, smiling. I am pleased to hear that. Humans are unpredictable, but in a positive way. Today's observations were most informative. Alex opened his door and paused. Just remember, tomorrow, the cafeteria and engineering bay are fine, but the shower is off limits. Lyra laughed, a sound like gentle chimes. Understood, Alex. Tomorrow, I shall observe elsewhere. But the day was enjoyable. Thank you for your patience. Alex leaned against the doorframe, smiling. You're welcome. I think, as she floated away, Alex realized something important. Space was full of strange beings, new worlds, and unknown challenges. But maybe, just maybe, the best discoveries weren't in the stars they were in. Learning to understand others, even when they were completely alien. And as he sat down to relax for the evening, he found himself looking forward to tomorrow's observations. With Lyra around, life on the space station would never be dull. The day began, like any other on the space station. Or so, Alex thought. He was in the engineering bay, checking a minor issue with the station's oxygen recycling system, when a soft shimmer appeared in the corner of his vision. Lyra had arrived, as usual, her glowing eyes scanning the room with curiosity. Good morning, Alex, she said cheerfully. I have completed analysis of yesterday's observations. Today, I wish to continue studying human problem-solving skills. Alex rubbed his eyes and muttered, Can't we have one morning without analysis? Lyra tilted her head. One morning without analysis is wasted opportunity. Alex groaned but couldn't help smiling. Her enthusiasm was relentless. And although it was exhausting, he had to admit it made his day more interesting. As Alex worked on the oxygen system, Lyra floated nearby, observing every movement, every adjustment, every tool he picked up. She asked questions about every step. Why he calibrated the sensors in a certain order. Why he checked pressure gauges before flow regulators. And why he sometimes paused to double-check the manuals. Alex explained patiently. It's all about efficiency and safety. Small mistakes can cause bigger problems later. Humans value planning, but we also adapt quickly when unexpected things happen. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Adaptation. I see. Humans rely on both logic and improvisation. This combination is effective. Just as Alex was about to tighten the final bolts on a panel, the station's alert system beeped loudly. Red lights flashed along the hallways. What now? Alex exclaimed, jumping back. Lyra's eyes widened. Alert. Sensors indicate a malfunction in the main energy distribution module. This could affect multiple systems, including life support. Alex's stomach tightened. That's serious. Okay. We need to check the module immediately. The two of them rushed down the corridor. Alex leading, and Lyra floating gracefully behind. As they approached the energy distribution module, the problem became clear. A minor wiring misalignment had triggered a chain reaction, causing temporary fluctuations in the station's energy supply. Some lights flickered, and a few systems were shutting down intermittently. See? Alex said, pointing to the exposed wiring. This little misalignment is causing all the trouble. I need to fix it before it gets worse. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. May I assist? I have scanned similar modules on my home station. My species uses adaptive energy stabilization protocols that might help. Alex hesitated. I usually work alone on these things. But, okay, fine. We can try your method carefully. They worked side by side. Alex guided the adjustments with his hands, tightening connections, recalibrating circuits, and monitoring energy flow. Lyra floated above, her sensors scanning the system, suggesting small modifications to stabilize fluctuations. Align the conduits slightly to the left, she said. Energy dispersal will be more even, reducing pressure on the main nodes. Alex followed her instructions carefully. Good idea. That's working. Minutes passed, and the station slowly returned to normal. Lights stabilized, alarms ceased, and the hum of the energy system returned to a steady rhythm. Alex exhaled in relief. That actually worked, he said, wiping sweat from his forehead. Your method helped more than I expected. Lyra's glowing eyes reflected pride. Collaboration is powerful. Different species bring unique strengths. By combining methods, we achieve solutions. Neither could alone. Alex nodded. Yeah. Teamwork does pay off. Teamwork does pay off. As they were finishing, a new problem appeared. A secondary alarm indicating pressure inconsistencies in the adjacent oxygen supply module. The misalignment of energy distribution had caused a slight imbalance in airflow. Alex groaned. Of course. One problem fixed, another pops up. Perfect. Lyra tilted her head, her tendrils floating nervously. Do humans always encounter multiple simultaneous challenges? This seems stressful. Alex chuckled despite the tension. Sometimes. Space is unpredictable. We adapt. Together, they moved to the oxygen module. Alex explained the setup to Lyra as they worked. The pressure regulators, the flow conduits, and the emergency relief valves. Lyra asked questions about each component, absorbing every detail. Interesting, she said. Your systems rely on both mechanical control and automated sensors. Why not fully automate everything? Humans like control, Alex explained. Automation is useful, but human oversight prevents mistakes. Sometimes machines fail in ways only intuition can detect. Lyra considered this. So, intuition is a form of problem-solving unique to your species? Ender, when apsided. Yes, Alex said. We combine logic, experience, and instinct. It's messy, but it works. As they worked, Lyra suggested small adjustments that made the system more efficient. Alex implemented them, carefully observing the results. Slowly, the oxygen module stabilized. Excellent, Lyra said, her eyes glowing warmly. Pressure levels now within safe parameters. Life support is secure. Alex leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. We did it. Together. Not bad for a human-alien team. Lyra floated closer, her expression bright. I must say, Alex, I am impressed. Humans demonstrate remarkable ingenuity under pressure. Your ability to remain calm, analyze the situation, and adapt is inspiring. Alex smiled, feeling a surge of pride. Thanks. I guess it's part of being human. We deal with problems, no matter how big or small. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we succeed. But we keep trying. Lyra nodded. Indeed. Perseverance is a strength. Your species exemplifies it beautifully. For the first time, Alex realized how much he valued her perspective. She wasn't just curious. She was observant, analytical, and genuinely interested in understanding humans. Her suggestions had saved the station from potential disaster, and her enthusiasm had kept him focused. As they packed up their tools, Lyra suddenly paused. Alex, may I ask a question? Sure, he said, still catching his breath. Do humans always respond to challenges with this mixture of calm and determination? Or is it unique to you? Alex considered this. I think it's a mix. Some humans panic, some freeze, some act rashly. But most of us try to think things through, especially when others' safety is involved. Lyra's eyes glowed softly. Remarkable. Responsibility, empathy, and problem-solving combined. Humans are truly admirable. Alex laughed softly. Well, I don't know about admirable, but we do our best. As they walked back toward the living quarters, the station returning to its normal hum around them, Alex realized something. He had always thought of humans as fragile compared to other species on the station, but watching Lyra learn from him, and seeing how she adapted her knowledge to help, made him feel differently. Humans weren't the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced, but they were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. And sometimes, those traits made all the difference. Lyra floated beside him, her tendrils quivering slightly with excitement. Alex, I have learned so much today, not only about your species' methods, but also about human collaboration and creativity. It is enlightening. Alex smiled. I'm glad you learned something. I think I learned a lot too. Having you around makes me think differently about my work, about solutions, about everything. Lyra's glowing eyes reflected warmth. And I appreciate your guidance and patience. Human ingenuity is impressive, but your willingness to share knowledge is equally remarkable. Alex chuckled. Well, I can't let all that human ingenuity go to waste, can I? They paused outside the living quarters, the station quiet around them. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, understanding that today had been unusual, stressful, but also rewarding. Tomorrow, Alex said, let's hope for fewer alarms. Lyra's eyes twinkled. Perhaps, but I suspect that challenges will continue to arise. Humans thrive in overcoming them. Do they not? Yes, Alex said with a smile. We do. And with that, Lyra floated away to her observation deck, leaving Alex to finally relax. He leaned against the wall, thinking about the day's events. The space station was unpredictable, aliens were unpredictable, and yet, somehow, life here was thrilling. He realized that the station's real value wasn't just the technology or the mission, it was the people, and sometimes the aliens, who made each day unique. Curiosity, ingenuity, and collaboration were what kept life going. And in that moment, Alex felt a deep appreciation for the unpredictable, messy, wonderful adventure that space life truly was. He shook his head, smiling to himself. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what Lyra notices next. The station hummed quietly around him. Lights stable, alarms silent, life support steady. But Alex knew that no matter how calm the station seemed, the real adventure was always just around the corner, sometimes floating in, shining turquoise, and asking too many questions. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling a mixture of anticipation and exhaustion. The previous day had been hectic, with alarms, energy fluctuations, and oxygen module repairs. But it had also been surprisingly enjoyable. He stretched and walked to the small viewport in his quarters, staring out at the endless stars beyond the station's hull. Space was calm and silent, a stark contrast to the chaos inside the station. But he knew that unpredictability was never far away. Just as he was finishing his morning coffee substitute, a soft shimmer appeared near the doorway. Good morning, Alex. Lyra's cheerful voice rang out. I am ready for today's observations. Alex groaned playfully. Do you ever sleep? Lyra tilted her head. Sleep is optional for my species. Observation is continuous. He sighed and shook his head. Well, let's just hope today is a little calmer than yesterday. F. Samenhaum. Af. 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 Lyra's glowing eyes sparkled. Calm is relative. Challenges often reveal the most about your species. Shall we begin? Alex smiled. Sure, but maybe start with something less dangerous than energy modules and oxygen systems? Lyra nodded thoughtfully. Agreed. Observation of daily routines can be enlightening. They spent the first few hours in the living quarters, observing Alex's morning routines. Lyra asked questions about hygiene, clothing selection, and the preparation of meals. Her fascination with seemingly ordinary human behaviors was both amusing and surprisingly insightful. "You humans have so many small rituals," Lyra said as Alex made his bed, adjusting pillows, folding covers, arranging personal items. All these actions reflect priorities and emotional states. "Remarkable," Alex chuckled. "I didn't think making my bed would impress an alien." "Not impress," Lyra corrected. "Inform. Understanding is different from admiration." By mid-morning, Alex decided it was time to head to the engineering bay for routine maintenance. Lyra followed, as usual, her tendrils floating gently behind her like a shimmering aura. "Tell me," she said as they walked, "do humans often work in teams?" Yesterday's collaboration was effective, yet it seemed unusual for a single individual to manage a complex task with such efficiency. Alex nodded. "Humans work in teams often, but sometimes one person handles small-scale problems alone. It depends on the situation. Yesterday was an exception." Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Your species is adaptable. You adjust to circumstances quickly. This trait is admirable." Alex smiled. "Thanks, I guess." When they reached the engineering bay, Alex noticed a small flashing light on one of the maintenance panels. It indicated a minor temperature fluctuation in one of the auxiliary systems. Normally, it wouldn't be a problem. But today, Alex felt unusually observant thanks to Lyra's presence. "See that?" he said, pointing to the panel. "A small temperature spike. Probably nothing, but we should check it." Lyra floated closer, her sensors scanning the module. "Minor anomalies can indicate larger systemic issues." "Shall we investigate?" Alex nodded. "Let's do it." Together, they worked on the system, following precise protocols. Lyra's alien perspective helped identify subtle irregularities that Alex might have overlooked. With her guidance, they not only corrected the fluctuation, but also optimized the system for greater efficiency. "Impressive," Alex said, wiping his forehead. "I didn't think a small change like that would make a difference." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Efficiency is often found in small adjustments. Your species is methodical, yet creative. I am learning much from you." The day passed quickly, filled with collaborative problem-solving, humorous observations, and shared discoveries. Alex realized that he had grown fond of Lyra's presence. Her curiosity was sometimes overwhelming, but it brought a new perspective to mundane tasks, and her enthusiasm was infectious. By late afternoon, the station's routine systems were running smoothly. Alex decided it was time for a brief break. He led Lyra to the observation deck. A wide corridor with a panoramic view of the galaxy. Stars sparkled like diamonds against the black canvas of space, and the distant glow of nearby planets added color to the scene. "Beautiful," Alex said, leaning against the railing. "Never gets old." Lyra floated beside him, her tendrils reflecting the starlight. "Indeed. Your species often ignores the visual wonders around you while focusing on tasks. Observation of these wonders can inspire creativity and reflection." Alex smiled. "I guess sometimes I get caught up in work. You remind me to notice more." She tilted her head. "And you remind me that humans are resilient, clever, and adaptable. Your species is remarkable." For a moment, they simply stood there, taking in the view. Alex felt a sense of calm, the kind that only comes after a day of hard work and successful collaboration. Lyra's presence was comforting, not intrusive, and he realized that he had grown to enjoy these moments. Suddenly, a soft alarm beeped. Alex jumped slightly. "Another problem?" Lyra scanned the station's sensors. "Minor fluctuation in the auxiliary power grid. It appears contained, but investigation is recommended." Alex chuckled. "Of course. Nothing ever stays quiet for long." Together, They approached the auxiliary power module. The issue was small, a minor voltage mismatch, but correcting it required precise adjustments. Lyra guided Alex through her alien stabilization technique, and they worked seamlessly as a team. "Your technique is effective," Alex said, tightening the final conduit. "Not bad for an alien observer." Lyra tilted her head, a small glow of amusement in her eyes. "Your species is adaptable. You learn quickly and apply knowledge efficiently. Collaboration enhances performance." Alex smiled, feeling a surge of pride. "Thanks. We make a good team." With the module stabilized, Alex decided to take a break. They walked back toward the living quarters, laughing at small mistakes from earlier in the day. Tools dropped, sensors misread, and Lyra's occasional confusion over human habits. "You humans are humorous," Lyra said softly. "Your errors and adjustments create patterns of learning and adaptation. It is entertaining and informative." Alex chuckled. "I never thought I'd hear that from an alien." By evening, the station was calm. Alex prepared his dinner, and Lyra floated nearby, observing quietly. The day had been challenging, but rewarding, and he felt a sense of accomplishment. "You know, Alex," Lyra said thoughtfully, "I have learned more about humans in these few days than many species learn in years of study. Your ingenuity, patience, and resilience are admirable." Alex smiled. "And I've learned a lot about alien perspectives too. You see things in ways I never thought of. Makes me think differently about my work and about life." Lyra's eyes glowed softly. "I am pleased to hear that. Mutual learning strengthens understanding and friendship. Observation becomes meaningful when shared." Alex nodded. "Yeah, I guess that's true." They spent the next hour talking about their discoveries, sharing stories of their respective species, and laughing at the small, humorous moments of the day. Alex realized that despite the chaos, the alarms, and the unexpected problems, he had never felt more connected to someone, even someone from another species. "You know," Alex said, "space is unpredictable. Life is unpredictable. But, with teamwork and understanding, we can handle almost anything." Lyra's eyes twinkled. "Indeed, humans thrive on challenges, adapt to circumstances, and find solutions where others might fail. Observation confirms your species' strength." Alex smiled. "Thanks, Lyra. I think we both learned a lot this week. About each other, about problem solving, and about not panicking when things go wrong. Completed. We have the livitive ritu. We have the something with considerative different on percentative. About 1 pt percentative reet. About 1 pt percentative develative." Lyra floated closer, her tendrils shimmering. "And I have learned that patience, empathy, and collaboration are as important as logic and observation. Humans exemplify this beautifully." As night fell over the station, Alex and Lyra looked out at the galaxy once more. Stars glittered, planets glowed, and the vastness of space stretched endlessly before them. "Tomorrow," Alex said, "let's hope for a quiet day." Lyra tilted her head, smiling. "Perhaps. But I suspect challenges will arise. Humans thrive in overcoming them. Do they not?" "Yes," Alex said with a grin. "We do." And with that, Lyra floated to her observation deck, leaving Alex to relax in his quarters. He leaned back in his chair, reflecting on the week's events. Space was unpredictable. Life on the station was unpredictable. But somehow, that unpredictability made it exciting. He realized that the best discoveries weren't always about technology, missions, or distant planets. They were about understanding, learning, and connecting with others. Curiosity, ingenuity, and collaboration were what made humans remarkable. And sometimes, friendship even with someone completely alien was the most rewarding discovery of all. As Alex prepared to rest for the night, he smiled. The space station hummed softly around him, life support steady, lights dimmed, and stars shining beyond the hull. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new observations, and new adventures, and he was ready for all of it, especially if Lyra was around to ask too many questions, float through doors uninvited, and remind him that life was never dull, no matter how far from Earth they traveled. For Alex, the strangest, most chaotic days on the station had become the most memorable and the most meaningful. He realized that being human wasn't about being perfect, being strong, or being the fastest. It was about curiosity, ingenuity, resilience, and the ability to adapt. And as he closed his eyes and drifted to sleep, he felt certain that space, friendship, and adventure were only just beginning.